talk show and Saturday Night Live. Please give it up for Dennis Miller.
You know, relationships go quickly. Are they still together? I swear they must be Mormons. I saw them got married on Maury Povich once, that same couple. So I think this is a thing. You know what? I have to say this right off the bat because I really feel like I'm stepping out here. By appearing on your show tonight, I'm no longer allowed to appear on the John Davidson Hawaiian Real Estate Seminar. So, really, I feel like I've kind of fooled myself.
Can I ask you a question? When you sit at home and write or ride in your car and think of a reference, are you afraid to throw it out to the audience sometimes? Do you worry that they won't be able to get with it?
Well, you know what? It seems to me that our culture is now set up so everything is immediately accessible and really, you know, everything's kind of spoon-fed to you. I don't think these references are that obscure. Periodically, it's something that catches my eye, like some sort of arcane jargon will stick in my head, and I'll use it. And I don't sit there and really think, God, I hope they don't hate me because I use say, James Joyce or something. You know, it's just some people like it, some people don't. But it's the only thing that makes me laugh, so I have to write to my strength. You know, this is just what I do. So.
Yeah. How about the Emmys? Let's talk about hosting the Emmys. How did you enjoy that experience?
Well, you know, actually, I hosted like the first 30 minutes, and then I went away for 2 hours. And I had just started growing my beard at that point, and at the beginning it was short, and in the interim 2 hours when I was away, I had the makeup department put a real long beard on me, and I came out 2 hours later with a real long beard, and the people in the audience at that point were so anesthetized by the length of the evening, nobody even noticed. I had a beard down here like a mountain man. There. Okay, cute joke, get me in the car, get me the hell out of here, okay?
Every reference
a long
worked
night, man.
Oh, yeah, but you did good.
You know what I noticed about the Emmy people is that people at the Emmys, people at the Oscars thank God when they win, and people at the Emmys don't thank God. They thank the producer. And I think the feeling on the behalf of the Emmy people there is that if God were really with them, you know, they'd obviously be doing films. So, nobody really brings God up. TV is, you know, the thing that you notice about the Emmys is the proliferation of the nominations now. A lot of cable, a lot of shows. Christopher Lloyd won for a show that I've never even heard of in my life, something on the Disney Channel. And there's just so many, everybody has a short attention span in this country now. You know, most Americans have crazy glued down the scan button on their channel flicker, and the average American attention span is that of a ferret on a double espresso. But the,
Let's see, Dennis, see, look.
A ferret. You know what a ferret is,
Yeah,
don't
I
you?
know what it is, but
they built the pyramid? Wow. And, you know, there's so many different stations now. Now they have a 24-hour cartoon channel, 24-hour science fiction channel, and to make room for that on the Dow, I believe they got rid of the literacy channel and the what's left in civilization channel. I'm sorry, I had to put that in there.
It worked.
I hadn't been bleeped in a while. I missed it.
What do you think of all the quail bashing that went on that night?
I think they brought it on themselves. When I watched the Republican convention, and believe me, there are certain issues that I'm a conservative on, so I'm not a raving liberal who just reflexively hates the Republican Party. But when I watched that convention, I don't know about you, but I was just appalled at the exclusionary talk about homosexuals and families that weren't set up like families they wanted to be set up. And I sat at home and I thought, hey, the gloves are off. You should be able to take a run at those people. They were punks. They started it. I mean, that's really bad form. Pat Buchanan should not have been allowed to speak up that.
I'll go with that.
You know, at a time, obviously at a time when this country's becoming, you know, fractionalized, and, you know, there are people, you know, breaking apart where the estranged of this country are now getting left further and further behind. we should be embracing our fellow human beings, as opposed to these guys talking about, you know, and it just seemed like such an anti-gay rant. It really put me off, you know. I thought what happened at the Emmys was just a reaction to that. And, you know, Quayle, to me, Quayle is like the Rosetta Stone of contemporary American comedy. All jokes run through him. He always has that look on his face, those glazed over band roll-on applicator eyeballs, you know, and you ever see when he tells a joke and he gets a laugh? He's so stunned that he has that look on his eye like a goldfish that's accidentally flopped out of its bowl and doesn't quite know what to do, you know? He just doesn't know how to deal with his newfound freedom. Quayle should not be second in command of the Hakawi tribe on F Troop, much less the third most powerful nation on the planet. I mean, to me, he deserves the vice presidency like Elvis deserved his black belt. I've always thought of, and now, you know, Quayle's thinking of running for president 4 years. That's the amazing thing to me. The day Dan Quayle runs for president is the day Shelley Winters runs with the Bulls at Pamplona. I mean, it just can't happen. It's incredible to me. He has no right to be president. It's like, to me, Quayle always reminded me of Dan Tanner's assistant Binzer on the old Vegas show. You know, you let him answer the phone, but he does not drive the T-Bird. That's just the way I think of Quayle.
We'll be right back with more Dennis Miller.
Woof, woof, woof.
Hey, leave it alone, man.
I always
leave it alone.
wanted to say it.
You've made your living on television, but do you watch it when you're at home?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. You ever see the show Dream On HBO where the guy has, I think that's where I get some of these references. It's just kind of stuck, you know, I was a bit of a quiet little boy and I used to watch a lot of TV. But, you know, TV in the near future is going to change so drastically. They have this thing, virtual reality now. Are you folks aware of this? This is, they say maybe by the end of this century, a man will be able to simulate through his TV making love to any woman he wants to. And, you know, the day an unemployed steelworker can lay on his Barcalounger with a channel flicker in one hand and a beer in the other and make love to Claudia Schiffer for $19.95, well, you know, it's going to make crack look like Sanka, because, quite frankly, you think people are addicted now, man. They'll be hibernating at that point. So, yeah, I watch a lot of TV. Yeah.
Do you let little Holden watch TV?
Yeah, my son, he watches videos. And, you know, it's amazing, the things that they learn. I'm flipping through last night, and he said, Daddy, I want to watch MacGyver. I said, God, you don't know my name, for God's sake, you know? You know, Richard Dean Anderson, Daddy. He knows everything. My kid's 2 years old now, and, you know, it's the sweetest thing in the world. My wife and I, you know, we had a child so we could pre-board airplanes. And now that we have them, you take a look at your wife, well, when you get married someday and have a kid, you take a look at your wife looking at this kid and then looking at you, and you realize that at some point you were just like a date that worked out, you know? They really love that kid, you know? It's such a deeper feeling. And I don't want to say my wife's biological clock was big, but Harold Lloyd was hanging off the minute hand. You know, it was time. It was time for us to... You know Harold Lloyd, Jim on Taxi? I'm lost. Sorry.
Don't hurt them.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Let's see. What else is going on? Will you do film? Will you go back to SNL? What's happening?
Well, you know, I'm not a good actor. You know, when I used to be in sketches at Saturday Night Live, every time the comic Cahotek would come through the system, I'd do a sketch. And I'd always be in like a King Arthur sketch, and I'd see the crowd saying, you know, I had made such a living there being myself that when I eventually had to immerse myself into a character, it just never quite worked. People would be going, oh, look, Lovitz is King Arthur, and Phil Hartman, he's Sir Gawain, he's great at this. And, hey, what the hell's Dennis doing in this sketch? You know, I always felt like an idiot over there, because I'd be standing there and I'd have to speak in an old English accent, and everybody would be getting real uncomfortable for me because I couldn't quite do it right. So I don't think acting's the way I'm going to go. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go on the road right now and do my act again. You You know, people ask me a lot if the cancellation of the show, you know, has been devastating. Actually, at the beginning, you get hurt. Obviously, you want to do the show. But after a while, when you see, like, how far you can fall in this country right now, you see people who used to have great paying jobs. They have, you know, master's degrees, and they're on the street now. I'm just thankful that I have a gig to fall back onto. This is what I used to do, stand-up comedy, and you know, I'm happy to go back to it. It's fun.
Yeah. We talked about the cooking sketch.
Oh yeah,
that
on Saturday Night
did
Live.
about you.
Yeah.
Now, is that a compliment, or did it bother you? I mean, because they
Well,
only
you know,
talk about you if you're famous.
Yeah, but either way, well, beyond famous, it's hard and fast at Saturday Night Live. You know, it's not for the weak of heart. And I think, like, after years of poking fun at people on Saturday Night Live, which is what I did, and, you know, I have to belly up to the bar when it's time to take my medicine. You know, like, I'm not above being made fun of, obviously. They should make fun of me, you know? I'm just as everybody. I took it, like, as a bit of a compliment. I took it as a little bit of a slam, but enough of a slam that I'm okay with it. And besides that, I thought it was funny. So, you know, people get so uptight when they get a shot taken at them nowadays. And I used to be like that, quite frankly. When I was in my 20s, I thought, oh, my God, they're out to get... You know, it's almost like this borderline paranoia that's just bred of your insecurity. I'm 38 now, though. I have enough foibles, certainly, that I should be easy to parody. You know, I'm easy to make fun of in a way because I've got all those tics and playing with the hair and that. So, yeah, I thought it was funny.
Yeah. So now that you don't have to do the show every night, you get to spend time with Holden and the wife. You go see a lot of movies and stuff. What have you seen lately?
Well, you know, I'm intrigued. I saw the last Columbus film, and it was not really there. So I want to see the new one because it evidently is a little better. But the thing I have to ask is if Gerard Depardieu is the biggest sex symbol in France, well, you know, quite frankly, that Jerry Lewis thing's starting to make a lot of sense to me. What is that about? That is not what a hulk of a guy, man. He's like Masada in a bad Ava Gabor wig or something, you know. That is a big, lummoxy guy there. I've been reading a lot. I'm reading Rise and Fall of the Third Reich right now. I'm not really too far into it. Hitler's still a Mary Kay rep. But, sorry, I'm so sorry.
Oh, boy. I've been talking a lot to guests about the election.
Yeah.
Who are you going to vote for?
Well, you know, to me, the choice between Bush and Clinton is like the choice between airline food and hospital food. I don't really, I don't know what you're... President Bush is obviously in tough shape now. He's got to know when he shows up at these campaign stops and the crowd's singing, na, 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 hey, hey. It's just a bad sign. But I think he's had 4 years. I think he's a nice man, George Bush. I think in his heart he believes in what he's doing, but it's not working. So I think it's time for a change. George, read our lips. No second term. You know, it's just time. I was intrigued by Perot for the longest time because I thought as a third party he represented, let's face facts, in our country now the way it works is an issue comes out, the Republicans and Democrats align themselves on opposite ends of that issue just reflexively, just because they don't get along. I thought if there was a third party there would just numerically be a consensus on every issue, and that would alleviate the one party from just voting arbitrarily. Right. You know what I mean? If there's going to be two on one side anyway, you might as well just think it out and get on the right side of it. So I like the idea of a third party, but then I don't know what the hell happened to Perot. He's like some Tolkien character with a gold card or something. He just completely flipped out. But I always thought if he was our president, at least it'd be easy to grab his ear and get him out of office if he screwed up. You know, he's got those, I could just see him. He would be scheduling meetings with you know, the Prince Charles every other week just so he wouldn't look like Dumbo, you know? He wouldn't be flying him in. I think I got it with Clinton.
Huh?
I think I got to go with Clinton, yeah, just because we need a change.
Young liberals.
Yeah.
I got to tell people where they can see you. Fort Lauderdale, Florida, October 15th. St. Petersburg, Florida, October 16th. And please stop by anytime
All right,
you like.
Arsenio, thanks
As a matter
for
of
having
fact,
me,
come sit here one night. Let me have a night off.
All right, man. Take care.
This is Dennis Miller.